Hello, my name is Kurt Brown, also known as Saint Rambone, founder of the website Mobile Audit Club and other publications under that internet search. And also, I have a website. I have videos at YouTube, Saint Rambone Kurt Brown Uploads. You can see that if you do that search, YouTube Kurt Brown Saint Rambone Uploads. You can see my videos in reverse chronological order. I'm here today to talk about psychological operations at the FDIC in 1999 and what I see as a possible and likely rape of a very innocent young woman there during that operation. I was placed in a position to see what was happening because my mind is just now coming back from about 32 years from a war about 32 years ago, or at least a military hit that I endured. I'm just now able to remember a lot of things that I was able to put together what happened at the FDIC during banking deregulation in 1999. This woman was, I believe the woman, what it was, let me back up here a little bit. My boss, who I call Kenny Dahl at the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation, was a bank examiner, kind of like the boss below the main boss in our office there. We were a sub-office below the San Francisco office, and they, of course, are below Washington, D.C. But a regional director had been killed in San Francisco in 1992. Alleged suicide with his own gun. That was during the FDIC Improvement Act. I think I was hired at the FDIC in 1999 during the Financial Services Modernization Act, also known as deregulation. I guess when it came to axe a man something in 1992, they axed his head off. The early resolution clause under the FDIC Improvement Act allowed banks to be dissolved with very little oversight. That's basically what happened. Now on the bigger matters, what happened in 1999 was a shifting of our banking system in a big way. I'm no expert on it, but I know it was very controversial, the entire thing. And I believe in a way, if you bet on banks overseas, you're betting against your home team. The laws at one time were meant to protect us, but they shifted, and there's no telling what all happened underneath also. But my boss had been evacuated from his home at FDIC. Actually, it was in Roseville, California. A fuel spill during the night caused the entire evacuation of the subdivision. That was on the FDIC. That was on the Financial Services Modernization Act of 1999. That was on the day it was to occur, or be put in place by law. And they'd quarantine him by himself. To me, that is very crazy because he's placed at a distance. And when someone's placed at a distance by themselves, they're easily manipulated, especially with high technology, possibly even drug out of the location, or just simply hit with high-tech equipment. In the Navy in 1983, we were hit with high-tech equipment. I believe Psych Ops weaponry. If not injected, who knows, but I believe it was just other Psych Ops weaponry, and I believe that alcohol actually makes the condition worse. One of my shipmates has multiple symptoms indicative of multiple sclerosis. He was on the fuel line handling team, and that was when it went down, when they were supposed to be refueling. He may not remember what had happened to him, but his central nervous system has been stripped. I advise you, if you ever get hit with Psych Ops weapons, you do not drink any alcohol, because alcohol crosses the blood-brain barrier, thereby impairing the central nervous system or the brain, which is already stressed. No alcohol is allowed. That's my opinion. That should be passed on to the military too. They're better off smoking pot. They're just doing nothing. They're drinking pop. Pop with pot. But my point is this. Right before or right after my boss Kenny Dahl, I gave him that assumed name for the FDIC, was evacuated from his home in quarantine. We were all of us bank examiners in the office were placed in a side office or adjunct office to the main office. The main office being probably, a huge auditorium space with cubicles, whereas this side office had a boardroom table with roughly 12 seats, and I was told to sit at the very end of the table by an employee so I could see the glass window and the glass door. All of us banking examiners sitting there, I could see 2 rows of bank examiners, just like this, 5 on each side roughly. And I saw the glass window, the glass door, and then outside the major office. As I was sitting there facing the window, I didn't know why we were there, but I heard a noise in the office. It's like argument, like, what are you doing here? And then I saw what appeared to be a man coming up, walking into the office, or into the main office outside the door, and coming in like that. And I don't remember if he turned or what, but I believe in reality it could have just, might not have been a man. It might have just been like a cutout board with some sort of projection equipment pounding us with something to make us become unconscious. Because when the man walked up, I thought I saw something behind him, but I wasn't sure, like people squatting down perhaps, maybe equipment. I didn't know, I thought maybe just moving stuff in and out. But as the man came in front of me, the lights kind of dimmed, and I saw them people in front of me, they leaned their heads down like this, like they were bowing, like they were nodding out, going to sleep or praying, and the vision became darker when they did it. My own vision became darker. And then it just, I'm not sure if I went unconscious, but the woman who was sitting on the right-hand side, she was a wonderful woman she said she had a home in Roseville, California. She was a very young woman. I believe she said she was married. She was a fellow bank examiner who worked with us there at that office. She used to play with stocks a lot in the office. And I know she was very much into stocks. On her off time, she dealt with stocks. A very intelligent young woman, but I think that was the one. There were other women in the office. But after the nodding out, it was like a dimming of the lights, but it's like a brown out. It's like goes from kind of bright to kind of a brown out and you're out. It's not like the lights just go boom and boom and back up again. It's like a phasing thing. If you ever have that, if you work in a government office or whatever, you have that phasing out. And if you notice it, mention it. Say, did you notice that? If it looks like the lights are going out, say, did you notice that? And if you happen to be female, or if you happen to be in a security position, check for changes. The woman at the table, I believe she might have felt wet or penetrated, which means she might have been raped if someone came in the office and were plundering the office. Now, this is like an invading horde. I'd already been through this in 1994 with my mother and the Kurt Cobain and Nirvana will. However, I had forgotten that too. My mother and I were jumped. She contacted me and told me to come to her house. I was studying medical technology at the time, which is, I think, why they hired me at the FDIC, so I could observe this. I believe my occipital lobe was hit. I've already had a stroke from '83 from the military, and then in '94 I was actually hit when I was going to do that ordeal with Kurt Cobain of Nirvana's Will. I did not even know I had a brother named Kurt Cobain. My mother had mentioned it several times, so I was in a stroke, and I just didn't mention the way she mentioned it, or what she would say, who is this? And she just wouldn't talk. And my father had told me I'd had a brother named Kurt, and we heard him on the radio in '87, and I think he had been killed. My father was killed. I think it involved big money. Think about it, Kurt Cobain went from something to nothing in 7 years, and he was killed. Worth $400 to $500 million bucks. My half-brother, dead. At least my dad said he is. He's got other half-brothers, but I don't know. I'd like to do a DNA check, but they won't let me do it. Not yet. But that's beside the point. The woman, after I kind of got back up, she says, did something just happen here? Did something just happen here? And then she got angry and she started talking to some of the managers, and they took her off to the side. The next thing I know, she was drugged, and she was coming back across the office. I am not kidding you, and this is serious. Psych Ops involves both rays, needles, lasers. I would say rays, I mean like lasers, stunning devices, and then you got delusion type things. Like somebody could have been a placard moving across the thing. Could have been a machine behind it with other people standing around there behind it. When I was sitting in the boardroom office, they put me at the CEO position at the table so I could observe. An employee told me to look, and I believe this is common. Like I said, if you notice a brownout in the power, you might have been hit. That was old technology. The new technology might just knock you out. Well, you don't know nothing. You have to remember, this was 1999. It was in the latter part of the year 1999, just like I was attacked in the latter part of the year 1983 when I was in the military. Our nature of warfare has changed, and our nature of society has changed. Not much, so nature of warfare always changes. So now you got Psych Ops weapons. Wish you the best of luck. This is Kurt Brown, St. Rambone, saying I deserve payment for what I've been through. See Mobile Audit Club, YouTube, St. Rambone uploads. This is Kurt Brown.